Hello, fellow Movie Crusaders, and welcome to our latest episode of the Movie Crusaders Chat About. I'm Sean Wasserkrug. With me, as always, is Brian Michaels. It's been a little bit, but we actually got enough news now to actually talk about some things, as well as some movie trailers, movie reviews. Literally a couple days ago, I texted Brian. I was like, "Do we have enough to talk about for a chat about?" And you're like, maybe. But then D23 came out. Totally forgot that was this weekend, and now we got a ton of shit to talk about. But before we get into that, let's go over our recent watches. We've got, two movies and a show to talk about that we've both seen. So we will have good back and forth between us on this. Which one do you want to start with first?
Well, let me talk about one that you haven't seen yet. At least I don't know.
Okay, you got another one.
And that is the Rebel Moon, Chalice of Blood.
Did you watch both?
I haven't watched the second part of it yet. So far, I've watched part one.
You're just talking about part one.
Yeah.
First things first, I wanted to watch it. We were going to watch it. And then I saw that it was like 4 hours long. I was like, I don't have that kind of time right now to watch this. So
yeah. The first part alone.
I'm going to do it. I promise I'm going to do it. But yeah.
Yeah, the first part alone went from like 2 hours and 10 minutes or whatever to like 3 hours and 40 minutes or something.
They went full on Lord of the Rings extended cut with this shit.
Now, first I just want to say, I didn't hate the original, the theatrical cuts, I guess you want to call them, even though they weren't theatrical. The PG-13 cuts that Netflix put out. I thought, it looked good, like most Zack Snyder movies do. There were some concepts in there and some characters I liked, and and the action stuff I thought was fine. I did not hate it the way a whole lot of other people did. It wasn't like best movie of the year or anything, but I enjoyed them. But you could tell they were like neutered and chopped up and very badly edited.
They were cookie cutter. That was my problem with the first one. Was that they're setting up all these characters, but they're not giving them time to breathe, time to care about one another. Like they introduce this one dude, and then it's like, oh no, he died. It's like, oh cool, he's only been on screen for 2 minutes. Why should I care?
That was a lovely Rachel McAdams impression, by the way.
Oh exactly. No, that was exactly where I was going with that.
But so I watched this version, and I've only watched the first part because I have to put aside another 3 hours to watch the next part.
Yeah.
But I watched part one, which is now the Rebel Moon director's cut, Chapter 1, Chalice of Blood. It's no longer Child of Fire. They gave it a whole new title too. And I will say, it is a very different movie. There's like the first 20-25 minutes is brand new. It wasn't in the movie. And then throughout the movie, you see scenes that are not only inserted, but a lot of scenes are longer. Yes, there's more, blood. Yes, there's nudity and sex, things like that people are expecting the R-rated cut. But there's actually a lot more substance to it as well. I think they do flesh out a lot of the characters. I think they flesh out a lot of the story. I think I said in my review, it's not going to make new fans out of people. If you hated the first one, you're going to not like this one either. But if, like me, you saw some promise in it, you liked some aspects of it, I think you will like this one more, because I did enjoy it. I think that while it is maybe a little too bloated now, I think there's a little bit too much to it. And I haven't even watched part 2 yet. But I do think that this is a better, fully formed story. It doesn't feel, because now looking back at the original one that came out, it feels like they just grabbed, it's like you're watching a series of clips from the movie. That's why it felt so stilted. But this one, it feels like a more fluid movie.
Makes me wonder, because it is Netflix, it's not theatrical. Why the fuck did we do this in the first place? Because you put everyone kind of in a bad taste in their mouths about this movie to begin with, and now you're trying to retroactively fix it and make people fans of this again, which is like, you could have just done this in the first place. Like, you're doing Zack Snyder a disservice, you're doing everyone a disservice that they wasted that time on a movie that was ripped to pieces, and now saying, hey, come on back and watch this movie you didn't really like. You might like it now. And this has been Zack Snyder's thing the whole time. You had this with BVS, the theatrical cut. I remember when I first watched it, I was like, there's a good movie somewhere in here. You just have to get through a whole bunch of shit to get to it. And then they came out with the director's cut. I was like, this is actually decent now. There's an actual thorough plot and story, and it doesn't feel like they are wanting to make a Batman movie and Superman's there. And then, of course, you've got Justice League with the Snyder cut and all that kind of stuff, which, while a lot longer, a more thorough story. So it's like, why do they keep fucking doing this with Snyder? I don't get it.
Well, I think it's because, I mean, I understand like the studio side of it, because it's like, you know, they don't want to put out a 4-hour movie because less people will see it and you get less showtimes in the day. They don't want to make things R-rated because you're cutting out your audience.
This one wasn't that case though.
Right, but this is for
no
Netflix.
sense.
But they still. I actually read an article where Zack Snyder talked about the rationale for putting out making the PG-13 cuts, and he was talking about how Netflix really wanted him to make them, you know, shorter and PG-13 so they can get a bigger audience, you know, things like that. But then they told him, you know, you can make your full cut. We'll actually give you more money to film additional, if you want to do additional filming, things like that, to make your longer cut. But we want you to put out this thing first. But the problem, like you said, like as you pointed out, is that the first cuts got such tepid responses, if not downright negative responses, that I think it did kill a lot of people's interest in seeing what is essentially the full version. Because it's not like this is an extended version of the movie. This is the movie he wanted to make to start with, and it got neutered for the first release. So, like I said, it's not anything. It's not great. It's not going to make my top 10 of the year, anything like that. But I did enjoy it a lot more. And so I'd say if you like the first one at all, I say check it out. And I'll let you know what I think about the second one when I watch it.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. I think it's one thing when it's a theatrical film, which I think it's stupid. But to do this on a Netflix, it just, or even if it was like Max or Apple TV, if it's like, or Peacock, if it's going there, just fucking let him do what he wants to do. Don't, hey, let's cut this thing into like a third and then, you know, good luck. It's like, dude, it's idiotic. Idiotic. But yeah, I'll watch it eventually and then I'll chime in with my thoughts on it. Because I want, you know me, I wanted to like this movie. I really did. I was just like, I'm so mad.
That's why I'm very curious to see when you watch it, because I know you saw the trailer for these director's cuts. You're like, I'm kind of interested again.
I know, I was like,
I'm curious to see if it delivers for you, or
because I watched it, I was like, oh my god, is Rebel Moon actually going to be good? Because I have been, and you were the exact opposite in this. I hated BVS. I saw the director's cut. I was like, okay, BVS is actually good as long as you watch this version. Justice League, I thought was okay, but I really liked the Snyder cut. I know you didn't like the Snyder cut, or you didn't really care for the Snyder cut, but I liked it. So I am in the mindset that I will probably like this, but it just boggles my mind that we even are in this position in the fucking first place. That's what drives me insane about this. I can't wrap my head around the stupidity of how they've handled this franchise. And at least maybe with these, I might be, okay, cool. We're gonna get a part 3. I'm interested in a part 3, but if you're gonna do this theatrical cut, director's cut, I'm probably not gonna waste my fucking time watching the theatrical cut when part 3 comes out, because you're just gonna make me mad again. And then I gotta wait, 6 months to a year to watch the director's cut. I'm probably just gonna fucking do that. But anyway.
And then real briefly, I'm just gonna a very short thing. I want to talk. I watched a movie came out earlier this year, kind of went under most people's radar, called Land of Bad. It's like a military kind of action survival film.
I remember the trailer, but I have not seen it.
Yeah, it's got Liam Hemsworth, Russell Crowe, Milo Ventimiglia is in there, a couple other people. It looked like totally like a straight to VOD movie. But it's directed by the same guy who did Underwater, which I've always tried to pitch people to watch Underwater, because I think it's an underrated kind of thriller. But I should say it's worth checking out. It's on Netflix now, but it looks really good. The action's really well done. And it's not, again, not best movie of the year or anything, but it's a movie that is way better than I expected it to be.
Did you just watch that, or are you talking about that you watched it earlier this year?
I just watched it on Netflix.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I didn't see it in this theatrical run because it looked like I said, like it looked like a VOD movie basically.
Okay,
and then
so real quick,
I'm like, I'll check it out.
All right, so real quick before we jump to the next thing, so do you remember what your score was for the original Rebel Moon?
I believe it was. I think I put it at 3.5, but it was like a low. It was like almost a 3. This one, I haven't. I still have it at 3.5, but it's like a high 3.5. Because it has improved on it, but I don't know if I can go up to a 4 or not. Maybe after I watch the second one, I can settle on something. But.
So that way you have it more as a whole. What about Land of Bad?
Land of Bad, I gave it 3.5 as well.
Okay. So, where do you want to go now with the 3?
Well, we got the other two. We got the other two
movies, and we got the TV show.
Yeah, let's do the 2 movies first.
Okay. Pick which one you want to go with first, and I'll follow you.
Well, let's go chronologically. You saw Trap.
Yes.
You want to go first on this one?
No, I actually want you to go first on this one. Yeah, so Trap came out last week. This was a movie that no, I'll hold that off till I get to my part of it. But everyone knows on this channel, if you guys have been watching this for a while, how I feel about M. Night Shyamalan or Shyamalama Ding Dong. He's the biggest fucking con artist in Hollywood to me. Dude makes Hollywood masterpieces out of his trailers. Gets you excited to want to see these movies. And then you get in there, and like I tell Brian, I feel like every one of his movies, right when you get past the halfway mark, which for anyone who's worked at a movie theater, once the movie passes the halfway mark, you cannot get a full refund. I don't know if that's still going on, but that was the case when I worked at the movie theaters. I feel like if you freeze the frame, there's a little picture of M. Night going, "Got your money, bye," because that's when the movies take a fucking nosedive. He's one of the worst third act directors in Hollywood. He hooks you in the first act. Second act, it's like, oh, where are we going with this? This is going to go really, really bad, or it's going to stay level. And then third act, whoa, and just like, fuck you, M. Night. Not every time. In Brian's case, like you said, you've actually been enjoying his recent upswing, and I'm kind of more a case-by-case basis. But with Trap, this has been a movie that you and I have actually been temperately excited for. One, the concept is actually a pretty good concept. Two, we both like Josh Hartnett, and we both want to see Josh Hartnett, get popular again. Which, granted, even before Trap came out, he was in this past season. Oh, granted, it was only for a scene, but he was in The Bear. He had a Black Mirror episode last year.
Oppenheimer.
He was an Oppenheimer. So he's kind of having a renaissance of himself. But this is the first one where it's like he's the lead, and this is his movie. And we wanted this to succeed because of Josh. In spite of M. Night, we wanted this to succeed because of Josh Hartnett. Now, saying all of that, let's go to Brian's review.
Something tells me that you like this better than I did. So I went into this movie, like you said, kind of excited by the concept. The trailers look decent. I wasn't sure how they were going to sustain it and where they were going to go with it, because they kind of, instead of having the twist at the end, they basically reveal from the very beginning. It's not really even a twist. It's not even a twist. It's just
that's the plot.
They reveal to you what it is. Yeah. So I like that, and obviously I like Josh Hartnett, so I was kind of optimistic going into this movie. Movie starts out. Josh Hartnett's acting is a little weird. He's like playing it a little too hard and weird as the dad. Some people say it's intentional, but I think it was just some bad acting, some overacting. Here's my thing. This movie isn't even a movie. This movie is M. Night Shyamalan wanting to make his daughter's music career happen. I'm pretty sure he just wants to sell the soundtrack for this movie, because she did like her own songs for this, and now she's just performing in the movie, which you can't miss, because this isn't a thriller set with the backdrop of the concert. This is basically a concert film that has some stuff going on, because he spends like entire performances just watching her sing almost full songs.
At least for like the first 50 minutes of the
multiple times.
Yeah.
Multiple times. And then in the second half, he actually lets her try to act, which that's not a whole lot better. I will say the trailers that we were so excited about, the entire trailers are from the first half of this movie. I didn't go back and look, but
20 minutes ish is the trailers.
But there's, because the movie takes a turn. I don't know if it's the exact halfway point, but it takes a turn at one point. At least the whole third act, there's nothing in the trailers. And it's not even like it was like, we didn't want to reveal the secrets. It was just like we didn't want to show you that part. Maybe wisely so, because as much as the movie is full of plot holes, there's all kinds of things that would never happen. People doing things they wouldn't do, acting the way they wouldn't act. This doesn't even feel like a real concert, because apparently half the audience spends the concert like out, shopping for merchandising, going to bathrooms and getting food.
I pause real quick on your review. I don't go to concerts. I don't. I actually have a bad track record when it comes to concerts, but I've never gone to like a big arena concert. All the concerts I've gone to have been kind of like small stage. And even I was a little like, why are all these people like?
These are all rabid fans, and they're also like out there hanging out in the lobby areas.
Like, I'm treating this with the mindset of like, okay, she's like a Taylor Swift-esque type singer, But for some reason, it's like, oh, they're resetting the stage. So everyone goes out and leaves like it's fucking halftime at a football game.
I get if there's like an intermission in a concert. Sometimes that happens if it's a long concert. And at one point they said, they're resetting something and they went, oh, it's just starting again. We got to get back in there. But there are multiple other instances where while she's still performing and singing, so he goes out there or other people go out there. And even the daughter comes and leaves the concert. And there's
for someone who seems like such a diehard fan, she's out there. I'm like, I'm sorry. If I was the daughter and my dad took me to a concert for my favorite singer, band, whatever, and he keeps leaving, I'm just thinking, okay, this just isn't his thing. I'm not going to then go and search for his ass. I'm going to be sitting there right where I'm supposed to be because he says, don't fucking move. Don't stay here. And then she fucking leaves too. And I just would be watching the show. I wouldn't be leaving. Like,
and I know, okay, and that's such a nitpicky thing, but it's just like representative of how the whole movie is like people acting the way they wouldn't act and doing things they wouldn't do. Everything is happening for, very conveniently. Like I won't say, but the scene with M. Night Shyamalan, his cameo in this film, it's like, oh, that's just super convenient how he's able to work that. And then throughout the film, there's so many things that wouldn't happen. So there's that going on. But then in the third act, it just, when it really gets into it, it's like, okay, there's no way any of this happened. There's so many plot holes. None of it makes sense. And it just gets beyond ridiculous. And it's just, by the time you get to the end of the movie, it's like, I didn't like actively hate the movie, but it's not going to make I don't think it'll make my worst of the year list, but it was just super disappointing because it was like, I went in optimistic and came out being like, what the hell was that?
So what was your score?
I think I ended up gave it a 1.5.
1.5.
I considered a 2. So I don't know, but somewhere in that range.
So it's a high 1.5, almost 2 range.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to narrow it down for
there are things about it that were okay, but there was so many things about it that just had me going, what the fuck?
So here's a funny thing that I've noticed with me and Brian. Especially when it comes to M. Night. Unless it's like Lady in the Water and After Earth and shit like that, or Last Airbender, where they're just complete dog shit. If Brian likes an M. Night movie, I'm like, eh. If I like an M. Night movie, Brian's like, eh. Brian and I don't seem to ever be on the same wavelength when it comes to M. Night. I didn't hate this. For the most part, I'm not going to completely defend this movie. There's a lot of stupid shit that happens in this movie. But because I went in, because Brian told me ahead of time, because I watched it last night. And, Brian was saying, hey, don't even bother with Trap. I'm like, are you fucking serious? And he's like, yeah, it's bad. And I'm like, okay. But I was like, you know what? Like, Brian seems to be the only one that I'm really seeing that really just outright hated this movie. I kind of still want to check this out for Josh Hartnett. So I said, check it out. I didn't hate it. I would put it, and you're going to go, ooh, when I say this. I put it right there with Knock at the Cabin. Not in terms of quality of acting, but in terms of, like, I thought Knock at the Cabin, like, I was like, it's fine. I didn't love it, but I thought it was for an M. Night movie, it towed that line, and it didn't go stupid, and it didn't go amazing, but it was steadily fine throughout. Trap, I feel, is right there. It's steadily fine for most of the movie till the very, very fucking end. And then I'm like, this is fucking stupid. What's going on right now? Because there's literally the last 5 minutes of this movie, I'm going, that would never happen. They would never do this. They would never allow this person to do this. Like, what? If this person is the person that they say they is, none of this shit would fucking happen. And then I'm just like, well, Court, I was like, that, and then the movie just ends. And I'm just like, how? No, you fumbled this ball. You didn't just fumble this. Let's go football here. You fumbled it, and then you kept kicking the ball every time you kept trying to pick it up until you got it all the way down the field the wrong way, and then you fell on it. Like, okay, cool, you just got a safety. I'm watching this last 5 minutes, and I'm like watching with my girlfriend. I'm like, they would never allow that. They would never do that. What? No, what? And then it just ends. I'm like, how did you fuck up this ending so profusely? Also, there is no twist. I kept waiting for a twist. Like, honestly, I kept waiting, and I'll tell you off camera because I don't want to go spoiler territory with
I think
this.
I know where you're going with this because there were a couple different ways I thought of it. I'm like, oh, I bet this is where it's going, and it didn't. And I'm like, well, my way would have been way more interesting. So I
Which
wish
you
they
and I
had
had
done
a
twist for
lot.
once. Yeah.
Yes, is because there was one point where like we're like discussing, like, what if the twist is this? And I'm like, if they're gonna do it, they need to do it like in the next 30 seconds. I'm like, no, that's not what they're gonna do it. And then I was like, I think this happened, which did, but it's not a twist. It's just something that happens. But I agree with the other people on what you said with Hartnett. I thought Hartnett was great in this. I think he was overtly acting like this kind of like goofy dad kind of thing, trying to like do whatever he can to avert any kind of suspicion with his daughter. Because which I actually thought her performance was solid in the movie.
Except if he was acting like that, his daughter would have been embarrassed to be seen with him. And she wouldn't be like, oh,
wait,
come on, Dad.
but remember, there's so many times where she's like, are you okay? Like, you're acting strange. Why are you acting this way? Not to the point where he's like embarrassing her, but you can tell that he's because he's freaking the fuck out, but he's trying not to show that he's freaking out. So he's overtly acting different ways, and she's catching on to it. Can I say this and this is in the trailer, so I'm going to say, I had never been more worried for a character lately than the dude, the t-shirt guy in the trailer. Because I was like, the whole time I was like, don't kill that dude. Like, that dude has seriously been like the most OG dude to you this whole movie. Do not fucking kill this guy. Because I was like, this guy has given you so much inside information throughout this that he should have never have given a random stranger. If you kill this guy, I'm going to be actively pissed for that.
Yeah, this guy's guilty of basically causing a lot of people's deaths.
Not even that though, because I mean, in terms of, because that's what I was
He
kind
gave him information that helped him escape, which let him kill more cops and things, and yeah.
He didn't kill any
cops, but yeah.
I was like, he didn't kill anybody in the movie.
Didn't he?
Sorry,
I thought
spoiler,
like when he was trying to
spoiler.
escape, he did. I thought like in the third.
No, they just said someone was. We never actively know. They just say that someone's down. They never say that he actually actively killed anyone. Okay. So spoiler alert: Josh Hartnett doesn't actually kill anyone.
I will say the cast of this one kind of threw me because it's like you have Alison Pill in there for almost no reason.
But when she is used, I thought she was like, I was like, hey, she's actually
she was fine, which is one of the reasons I thought they were going a different direction with it. It's like, oh, that's why they cast her as somebody recognizable, but no, they didn't go there with her.
Okay, so you're thinking exactly the way I thinking they were going to go. We both had the same twist.
I'm not sure what the hell Kid Cudi's role was in this movie because he was doing.
I'm not going to lie.
I thought they were going to go a direction with that. They didn't go with it.
I did laugh at that one scene where he just kept. Like, look, I was like, what is this? But you know what? It's funny. I'm laughing at it. It's
what's funny is he was like he looked like he was like flirting with him, giving him like a look. Yeah. And I was like, and that's why this isn't going to spoil anything. It's something that didn't happen. When they said like, only, the star and a inner circle can use this exit or whatever. I was like, oh, he's gonna like try and cozy up to that guy and get out with him or something. But they didn't go that way with it.
But the daughter would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. You got Kelly Mills in here. I guess just because the word trap is in the title, you felt you had to use her again. I don't know why she's in here. She has no reason to be.
But I will agree. His daughter. She is, and this is good. This is a knock, but not also at the same time because there are some good ones in there. She's a CW actress at best. She's.
You mean M. Night's daughter or Hartnett's daughter?
Yes, M. Night's daughter.
Okay,
M. Night's daughter. I can't say her name properly, and I don't want to butcher it, but Lady Raven. Let's just say that. Yeah, Lady Raven. She's a CW actress at best. She's pretty to look at. She's easy on the eyes, but her acting range is not that strong.
Here's what I will say. Her songs, while not my style, her songs were fine.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I just didn't want to listen to
that. I have a bigger problem with him just using the entire movie to push that career, but whatever it is.
But it's not that she was actively awful.
No.
It was just more like probably would have had someone a little bit better for these scenes, especially when we get to into that third act. Because that third act, I'm like, wow, where's she going with this?
Yeah.
And then like you get to that one moment, I'm like, okay, well, she's clearly gonna do this. And then she like wastes so much time to do it. And I was like, just fucking do this. Like, there's so many moments here where the characters could have gone one way or another and would have made the movie a lot shorter, but B also just would have been logically would have made more sense. There's so many times where, like, there's the one moment where she's trying to reach for the window and she like can't. I'm like, just take off your fucking shoe and fucking hit. Like, there's just do this. It's not hard. Like, there's just so many times where the characters do it.
But
Which, I mean,
also,
that's only the thing,
there
though.
comes a point, basically, and it's like before they even leave the concert venue, there comes a point where it's like, okay, well, at this point, he has to kill you.
It's like he sees she has seen your face, man.
You know who this person is.
Yeah.
And so at this point, he has to kill you. So why would you go along with that?
Where's your end game at this point? So yes, the first 50 minutes is a cat and mouse game inside the arena, which honestly I would have loved it if they had kept it in the arena for at least the last 10 minutes. And then they could have done what they did in the last like 15, not stretch it for another 40 minutes inside.
I honestly thought the movie was like wrapping up, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I still got another 40 minutes.
Yeah, because I would have loved it if they kept it like as a cat and mouse game inside the arena, and he's causing chaos and havoc and stuff like that. And he only does like two things.
That's what bugs me is like we saw the trailers with what we loved about it. It's like, oh, he's gonna cause the chaos. We're like, he was throwing those bottles in the fryer and things like that. Like, oh, this is the kind of stuff that's gonna be great. But like all of the what's in the movie was only what was in the trailer.
Exactly. So it's just like the concept is sound. It just didn't get utilized to its fullest potential. Instead, it was like, hey, for the last 40 minutes of the movie, I want my daughter, who's already been an overarching focal point of the movie, she's now the fucking main character. And the problem is,
final girl. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, she is not the strongest actress to be the main character, which honestly I feel like made Josh have to act even harder to counter her lame duck of a performance. And like I said, I credit Hartnett because there's times watching him, I'm like, dude, he's going for it, and I'm appreciating his performance for this. But so to wrap up my thing, I didn't hate Trap. I was entertained through most of the movie. Like I said, it was fine. It fumbles that last 5 minutes because that last 5 minutes infuriated me to no end. But so for me, it's 3 stars. I'm giving it a 64%. I liked what I liked.
I'd probably make mine 2 after all. I think I was with my wife who really didn't like it. I think it dragged down my rating, but I think I'd put it at 2.
Yeah, don't let the significant other drag you down. That's something that we both have. If they didn't like it, you're like, oh, I guess it really wasn't that good. It was like, no. I liked this. I liked it for the most part. It's just like there's also that one part too in the movie where when Kid Cudi appears and he comes. No, it wasn't Kid Cudi. It was the other dude. And he comes in through that lift thing in the middle of the aisle. That hole was there for like 5 minutes. No arena would leave that hole in the middle of that crowd. You know how many people would have fell in?
No arena would have that entrance there without all kinds of like staff and security around it to start with. And then they wouldn't leave the hole open, and they wouldn't leave it unattended, so somebody could go down there if they wanted to. Even
I'm like, outside of the part
that's a safety issue right there.
Exactly, because like outside of the fact that Josh Hartnett's like, we should go down there. Let's go check it out. It's like, how has no one fallen in this thing already? Like, and then just sued the shit out of the arena on purpose. Because I'm like sitting there going, there's no fucking way this hole would.
That's how little things like that for the whole movie. I'm like, this would not happen. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway. So that was Trap. I liked it better than Brian. Like I said, for some reason, Brian and I always seem to be on the opposite side when it comes to M. Night. But it's better than what Brian had anticipated me for. Maybe it was why I liked it even a little bit more. Maybe if I hadn't gone into it with the same with your preconceived like, hey, it sucked. I maybe I'm like, yeah, it's not that good. But I appreciate it for what it was. Next, we're gonna go to Borderlands. Now. Okay, this movie. Now I'm gonna say this: I love and played the video game. Brian, you said you dabbled in it.
I played a little bit of it. I don't think I ever finished a full game. I just dabbled a little bit.
Now, we went into this with 2 mindsets before this came out. One, we were worried that the trailer was trying to make it too much like Guardians of the Galaxy.
It absolutely wanted to be Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. My whole worry wasn't that. My whole worry was that Eli Roth was directing. I have never liked a single Eli Roth film. I like Eli Roth as a person. He's the Bear Jew. Of course I like him. But I have never. It's like Rob Zombie. Love your music, dude. Fucking hate your directing. But so that was my worry with Borderlands, was because it was Eli Roth as a director, and I just can't fucking buy Eli Roth as a good director. To me, he doesn't have good writing. He's just, I don't know. I've never liked him as a director, but I love this cast. Everyone that was casted in this film, for the most part, are people that I enjoy watching, that I like watching, and so I'm wondering if the cast will outweigh the shitty directing. Before both of us went into this movie, the wave of utter angry negativity this movie was getting, like worst film of the year, 0.5 star, 1 star, 1.5 star, 3s out of 10, just
3% on Rotten Tomatoes.
3% on Rotten Tomato. I almost didn't go see it because of that, because I was like, oh my god. But I was like, no, I still need to check this out because I love Borderlands. But just the overwhelming hate this film's getting. I'll go first on this one. Guys, y'all need to chill the fuck out. First off, this movie is not that bad. Okay? First off, you could blame the marketing. You could blame the trailers. That this movie was trying to be another version of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Guess what, motherfuckers? If you actually played Borderlands, Borderlands is anything but Guardians of the Galaxy. Borderlands is an alien-like world of Mad Max filled with gun porn. That is what Borderlands is. Borderlands is a game where you are a first-person shooter. You end up on this world named Pandora, and you're a vault hunter trying to find a treasure map. You're not with a group of people trying to all buddy around and hunt together. You are on your own, and you're basically just upgrading to newer fun guns to play with, so you can shoot up shit and just keep trying to, basically, treasure hunt until you have way too many OP guns until you find the vault. That's what Borderlands is. It's not this group team effort or anything like that. So the marketing and the way the film's going, I can see where people could be a little butthurt about it. The other problem is that Borderlands is definitely an R-rated movie. That is a gory language fill. It's very much of a Deadpool-esque type world. And so having this be PG-13 does not help. But in spite of that, this movie is not as bad as you guys make it out to be. It really isn't. It is the definition of, much like Trap, it's fine. It is fine for what it's doing. Everyone that's in the movie is putting on a solid to okay performance. No one's blowing it out of the water. No one's shitting the bed. And I'm not going to lie, when the movie started, I was a little worried because they literally spoofed Star Wars in the first scene with the whole short stormtrooper. And I was like, oh God, are we really doing this? But once we actually get to Pandora, I was like, this is Borderlands. She lands on Pandora. Here's Marcus. Hey, Vault Hunter, welcome to. I was like, okay, this is Borderlands. And the craziness of it ensues. Yes, then they start to have a team and stuff like that, but that doesn't deter from the film of what it is. What deters from this is, once again, this game is a very gun porn, heavy shooter, first-person shooter, and when you're shooting thousands upon thousands of bullets at people or the psychos, and you're not getting a single drop of blood, it does kind of take away from it. It really does. But I think Cate Blanchett was solid as Lilith. She looked phenomenal in this movie. Cate Blanchett is someone I never really kind of figured out her beauty, but as Hela and definitely as Lilith, I'm like, Cate Blanchett is fucking hot. Not gonna lie, she really is. But I thought, and the person you love to hate on, Kevin Hart, I thought he was fine in the role. He didn't, in your way, he didn't Kevin Hart it up immensely. I think he kept it kind of level for Roland. I think Ariana is Ariana Greenblatt or Greenblatt? Mm-hmm. Greenblatt. I thought she did Tiny Tina, relatively well. Jack Black was great as Claptrap. everything Jack Black did is like, that is exactly how Claptrap would have said it. That's exactly what he would have done. That's the exact verbiage. He was the best part of the film because he was the one that felt the most believable for what Borderlands was. Jamie Lee Curtis, I thought, was fine playing a differently kind of unique character, much like, I'm not going to put her performance up with this, but much like Everything Everywhere All at Once, she's playing something different that's not normally her style. But you know what? She's not bad at it by any means. I think Florian Montanou, which we all know from like Creed, I think he did a good job as Krieg. He played Psycho perfectly. Like that's his verbiage when he actually did talk was very much Borderlands. He says the things that he's supposed to say. The plot, I'm sorry, and I'm going to say this right now. You don't play Borderlands for the plot, everybody. The story of Borderlands is not that exciting. What's exciting about Borderlands is running and gunning and collecting guns and shooting people. It's not the story. And guess what? The movie story is not really there for you either. It's just, that's probably maybe why they made it a Guardians of the Galaxy-esque kind of thing, to try to find some way to make a story like fucking gel through it. So maybe that's why they did what they did. But I'm sorry, the movie is fine. It's not going to blow you out of the water. Honestly, there were certain parts of the movie I was watching. I was like, this is very almost like 1990s Super Mario Brothers, but not in like, this is a piece of shit. But it's just like, they're going a certain route with this. I'm not hating what I'm seeing, because the whole time I'm halfway through the movie, and it's like after like 15 minutes, I'm like, okay, it's not awful. And then I'm about 40 minutes, and I'm like, this is Borderlands. It's not awful. It's not great, but it's fine. And and then all of a sudden we're at the end and it's over, and I'm like, I don't get the hate. I don't get. This is not something that's going to be like in my top 30 for the year or anything. It's not disappointing. It's just, it exactly is what it was, which was Borderlands. And I don't get why everyone's going, this is the biggest dog shit piece of film. No, it's not. I can think of 20 other movies that came out this year already that are worse than Borderlands. And people just need to chill the fuck out. And guess what, guys? I'm giving this a 66%. It's fine. And people need to calm down. I think it looked good in certain respects. I think all the people in the film played the characters up to the most point for what Borderlands was, which a lot of people seem to forget what the game's about. I think they played their characters relatively fine throughout. What killed it is the PG-13 rating, because it's really stupid to see a bunch of people get shot and no blood. And them trying to force this Guardians narrative, which didn't kill the movie. It just kind of felt out of place. But I still thought it was a solid film throughout. I know it's a long review, but Brian, take over.
No, well, you actually kind of covered most of what I had to say, because I felt the same way. It's like, was it trying to go for a kind of Guardians of the Galaxy vibe? Absolutely, it was. Would it have been? Could I have seen it being I don't know, better, more fun film? I guess if they were able to go full, violence and profanity and all that stuff. Yeah, I could see how this one might maybe felt a little bit like it was holding back, and it could have been better that way. But I thought it was fine. It finds the exact word I used in my reviews, and the same one you're using as well, because that's what it was. It's not a great movie. It's not going to be in anyone's best of the year list, but it's also far from the worst. I think in my rankings of the movies of the year so far, it's like literally like the halfway point. There's like a good 30 movies I put below this already for this year alone. So it's like,
were you guys going into this expecting like the fucking Last of Us? Like,
I'm seeing two camps of people. There's like, first of all, I'm seeing a lot of the hardcore videos. See, like, you are somebody who enjoyed the game, but you're kind of looking at this like this is its own thing. Let's see what this does with the concept. But a lot of people are just so hardcore and like, oh, they changed this character, they did this differently, or this wasn't exactly the way it was in the game, and they just hate it. Like, I have one friend who is just this laser focused on the fact that he's like, oh, and they try to make Kate Blanchett, who's like 50 something years old, she's trying to play this 22-year-old character. I'm like, the character's not 22 in the movie. They never try to make her 22.
No.
So if she was in the game, I don't know, but this character in the movie is not. It's like, well, fine, then they just changed the character for no reason. And why are they saying big fuck you to the video game players? It's like,
it's not. It's
Kate Blanchett was the best thing about this movie. Kate Blanchett's the best thing about most movies she's in, honestly. But she was great in this movie. I agree. I think she looked phenomenal. I think she acted great. The other characters, I didn't dislike anybody as far as the characters. If anything, I think that by the time it's over, it's kind of forgettable. It's kind of like you watched it, you enjoyed it, it's over, kind of leaves your mind. It's
Yeah.
not anything stuck with me, but
This is not
I
going to be a franchise, guys. As much as you guys want it to be, it's not.
yeah.
This
Well,
is
that's the
not a
other thing. They're like,
franchise.
why didn't they use this character? Why didn't they use this character? And it's like because there's too many characters to shove. If they tried to put them all in,
The
you'd
only
complain that it was too crowded.
the only thing I would have had is instead of the bad guys being Atlas, I would have had Handsome Jack in it.
Yeah.
That's the
And
only thing I would have been like, why wasn't Handsome Jack in the movie? But it's not enough to me to go, I hate this film because Handsome Jack's not in it.
well,
It's
here's
just
the
like,
thing: is
okay.
I get the disappointment. If you're somebody who's hardcore into a property and they make a movie property of it and they change a lot of things or they don't use the aspects of it that you want, I get it. I'm obviously a big X-Men fan. They made the movies and they've changed a lot of stuff from the comic books. They've changed entire characters, they've changed timelines, they've changed stories, they've changed relationships between characters. So much stuff is different. But I look at it, okay, here's the comic world, here's the movie universe. It's separate, it's a different take on the same story. It is what it is. So I'm not pretending this movie's great. It's not great. But it's not dog shit either. It's just fun. So I actually settled on 3 stars, which is basically the same as you.
Yeah, and granted, like I said, I love Borderlands, but the reason why I love Borderlands is because me and my buddy would get on and we would play together and just go around and shoot the hell out of shit. We didn't care about the fucking story. Honestly, when story stuff came up, that's when we started talking to each other, or we just skipped through it because it
There's
just
nothing
didn't.
I hate more than unskippable cutscenes and
I know you do, but Borderlands was you're not playing Borderlands for the story. This is not The Last of Us. This is not Uncharted or God of War or even the Batman or Spider-Man games. This is Borderlands. Chill the fuck out. The movie's fine. Stop with all the absolute hatred. I don't see. There's still Madam Web out there, everybody. Madam Web is still out there, and this is nowhere near egregious as bad as Madam fucking Web. So calm the fuck down. Going to our last review, House of the Dragon, season 2 officially ended last week. We've talked about House of the Dragon on the show quite a few times, and what were your thoughts on season 2 as a whole? We didn't really talk about season 2. This is the first time really talking about season 2 together. So, what were your thoughts on it?
I feel like season 2 had some great moments in it. But I felt it was largely disappointing. It largely felt like spinning wheels. I know a lot of, even in Game of Thrones, the same way, a lot of it's kind of setting up future conflicts and relationships and things like that. But this one felt like it never really progressed much, at least not a whole season's worth. It felt like, everything that happened in the season could have been like 3 episodes of a season and they could have moved farther in the story. Instead, basically the whole season was a big tease for season 3. And then you have the whole Daemon storyline, which every time they cut to Daemon, I didn't care. I'm like, can we just go back to Rhaenyra or Alicent in that whole world? Because I didn't care about what Daemon was doing in his little castle off by himself. And he was one of the things we liked about the first season. But this season, it's like he just seemed so unimportant. It's a whole separate journey. I didn't care about the visions he was having. I didn't care about his relationship with this new girl. And it was just like, okay, I don't care about Daemon at all. I kind of wish we would just stop going back to him. So that to me could have been left out. I don't know. Just overall, I just felt like it was a season that had some high highs, but then a whole lot of just like, I almost wanted to fast forward. But I'm afraid I'd miss stuff, but I really wouldn't have missed that whole much. That's just me.
I agree with you that this season felt like all set up for season 3 because I'm watching the finale and I'm like, okay, we got all the dragons now. Like we about to go.
And then we only have 10 minutes left. Yeah.
And then you realize we're not gonna get a single fucking fight, are we? Son of a bitch! Are we saving all the fucking fighting for 2 years from now when season 3 comes?
Well, and I'm not somebody that needs to have, and I'm not somebody that's like, it has to be all action. I love the drama and the relationship and interplay of conversations in Game of Thrones and in House of the Dragon. I don't need it to be all action, but to have, to lead up to it and then just leave you hanging without anything. It's like, oh, anyway.
Yeah, I for the most part, I enjoyed season 2, but once it ended, and I realized that we have to wait 2 years for that, then I was like, well, I'm kind of pissed. I'm really agitated right now because I think because I rewatched for the most part season 1 with my girlfriend because she had never seen it, and so about by the time like episode 4 of the season came out, she finally was like, okay, I'm gonna watch House of the Dragon. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll like watch it with you and catch you up to like see episode 4 of season 2. So I was going back and rewatching it, and I remember like you and I both were like so mad when we lost the younger versions of Rhaenyra and Alicent. But I think, and I mean, we both love Olivia Cook. So we've been fans of Olivia Cook before House of the Dragon. But I remember like we weren't like super crazy about Emma Darcy when they got on, but they were fantastic this season. And even going back and watching season 1 again with me not having the I'm blanking on young Rhaenyra right now. Millie something. Millie Abcott?
Something like that. I'll look it up.
I think it's
Supergirl. Yeah.
Yeah, Supergirl. But I remember we were all just like kind of like butthurt pissed that she was gone because we loved her performance. But going back and rewatching season 1 with my girlfriend, and me knowing that we're losing her, I was able to watch Emma Darcy's performance, better. And I was like, they're actually doing a great job. And season 2, she is Amelia Alcott?
Amelia Alcott, yeah.
Okay. So I was right. Good job, brain. Good job.
Sean with name. Holy cow.
I know, right? It's like my weak point, but I got it. But I was happy when I saw her pop up in the vision. That's probably the one thing I really loved about Damon's visions is when she was like, yes, she got her back on the show. It's only for like 2 scenes, but I'm happy to see her. But I thought Emma Darcy was great. I thought the performances of Aemon and Aegon were way better this season as well. Granted, we didn't.
I thought I was going to
them in season 1 because they were only.
I did not like them, and I thought I was going to hate them. But I was like, you know what? Actually, they were kind of like one of the best things about it this season.
One of the things that irked me this whole season is that we lost Aegon, like after the 3rd or 4th episode because he was fucked up. Because I was loving his performance the first 2 episodes. Just him kind of being like fucking around. I was like you were not a good king, but you were fucking trying, dude. And I was loving his performance. And Aemon was that guy's just great. He's such a great actor. And his performance the whole season was great. But when Aegon got hurt, I was mad because I was like, no, like now we're not gonna he's not gonna be talking much, he's not gonna be doing much. That was one of the biggest downfalls for the season for me, was losing him. But I love the performances throughout this entire season. But yeah, I was thoroughly bummed with the finale that it was just when someone wrote it best in a comment. Season 2's finale was a phenomenal trailer for season 3. Which I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's a great trailer for season 3. I can't wait for season 3 to come because I want to see these. But when they did utilize the dragons this season, I thought they were great. I thought they really sold the horror of it when they went down into like the dragon caverns kind of thing with oh god, I'm not even gonna try to say all the dragon names. I know I'm gonna fuck it up. Like Veramorth or whatever, the big fucker, that destroyed everybody until Hugh Hammer was like, come out. And he's like, okay, I like you. You mind. But yeah, I loved all the concepts of it. I thought everyone, even though everyone fucking hates his guts, I thought Kristen Cole was great this season as just kind of being this slimy douchebag. But then at the very end, he's just like, we're fucking going to die, guys. Like, I don't care if I'm boning your sister. Like, we're dying here in a little bit. Deal with it, kind of thing. But yeah, I thought season 2 was great. It just had a very weak finale. And honestly, what irked me about this is the same thing that irked me about season 1. Game of Thrones has, except for the last season, because I get why they did that, has always been 10 episodes. And episode 9 was always like, this is going to be the fucking episode of the season. And
yeah, they always did. The next to last episode was like the big climax of it. And then the second and the last episode was kind of the aftermath of that, and then where it's going from there. Yeah.
Exactly, except for I think like season 6 or 7, when we were like, oh no, so episode 10 is like holy shit. When Cersei blew up the fucking like castle and shit, like, 'cause that was the finale. We're like, oh fuck. But with these being 8 episodes, I'm just like, we don't. House of the Dragon does not have that like that episode 7. It's like, no, they don't. It's like they don't have that definitive, because like by the time we get to like season 5, season 6 of Game of Thrones, everyone knows episode 9 is the oh shit episode. We don't even know what's happening yet, but we all know episode 9 is going to be the we're going to be talking about episode 9, the whole way.
Mhm.
And House of the Dragon doesn't have that. So when we get only 8 episodes, it just made me go, could we have done 2 more episodes? I get it's an expensive show, guys. It's more expensive than Game of Thrones, which I find hard to believe, probably because there's just more dragons. But it's just one of those things where it's like, I think this show really could serve having those 2 extra episodes, because we could have had at least a beginning battle in episode 9, like a Blackwater-esque kind of episode 9. And then they still could have had the aftermath episode 10. I think it would have made the season stronger. I think it would have been less disappointing for people had we had those 2 extra episodes, especially since House of the Dragon got delayed to begin with because of the writer's strike and everything. But knowing that we got 2 years now that we have to wait for this.
Well, that's just it. Is this finale especially was essentially a trailer for season 3. But you know what trailers don't do? They don't come out 2 years before the movie.
Well, they do sometimes, but they don't like set up everything.
Not intentionally. Things get delayed.
We're coming, kind of thing.
But yeah, that's the thing about this is it's just, and especially now that they've said that season 4 is going to be the end of it. They're only doing 4 seasons of this.
Exactly.
It's like, to be like, okay, now we're more than halfway through it, and we're only getting 8 episodes. Come on, just give us more.
Exactly. It's like I would love to see where the end game is going with this, because there's so much story left to tell. And I know we're getting another spin-off show next year.
Some of it did not really jump out at me.
I mean, it was like 3 scenes. It's hard to really gauge it. I think if we saw the same thing for House of the Dragon, 4 years ago, we probably been like, we have to actually get in with these characters. Like we felt like the House of Dragon. Like it took an episode to go, okay, all right. And the Night of the 7 Kingdoms or whatever, I think it's what it's called.
Like that. Yeah.
I'm not gonna scoff at it yet. Like we'll wait and see.
I'll still check it out. I'm saying what I've seen so far doesn't have me excited. Is all I'm saying.
No, and it's like, but we weren't really excited for House of the Dragon either, because we were all still butthurt with how Game of Thrones ended. I wasn't. I
wasn't. I liked it.
I just didn't like that Bran ended up being king. I thought that was
that's the only thing I didn't like about it.
I was like, no one likes that Bran's king. Let's fuck Bran. But my girlfriend still won't watch it because she knows what happens to Dany. It's like she won't watch the last season. She's never watched the last season. She's like, no, they did my girl dirty. I was like, but you still, I can't not finish it. Like I was like, how could you not finish the last season? But yeah, like I said, there's a lot to like about season 2 of House of the Dragon. Even in the finale, it was a really good finale, even if it left you like literally like waiting for something to happen and then nothing happened. It was just all moving the chess pieces into the right spots, and now it's like, okay, we're now everything's converging right to here in 2 years. That's like, oh fuck you. So next let's move over to our trailers. And before we get to D23 stuff, there's a few trailers that came out in the past week and a half that were worth talking about. First one, I'll get off the top of the head. I remember hearing about this and going, I'm intrigued by this. I don't know if I'm going to care. I like some of the cast in this. And that is Saturday Night, which is the supposed to be basically based on, I guess, is it just the night of the first episode? Is that what
it's yes, the entire movie is I think it's 90 minutes before the very first episode of the first season of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, which for me, right off the get-go, watching this trailer, outside of the cast and who they're playing, the first thing that popped up for me was like, oh, this is like Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip.
I love Studio 60.
Yeah, I know you do. So I was just like, I'm for this. And then I saw who was playing, like Dylan O'Brien, who we both enjoy, playing Dan Aykroyd, and I saw him with I'm like, that's great. The actor who's playing Chevy Chase, and what we saw of him, I was like, you know what? He's doing Chevy pretty damn good. I really liked what I saw in this like 2.5 minute trailer. I thought everyone was firing all cylinders. I'm actually really fucking excited for this. This might be one of my most anticipated of the fall for the rest of the year.
I agree. I this is a movie that I wanted to see basically because of Saturday Night Live, and I like the whole kind of behind the scenes idea of that. and B, because Jason Reitman's directed it, who I've liked pretty much everything he's done, to different degrees, of course.
Yeah.
So I was at least looking forward to seeing this movie. But I watched the trailer, but then I heard it was going to be like the whole like just 90 minutes before the first show. I'm like, I'd kind of like to see something a little bit more, broader and in depth. But then I watched the trailer. I'm like, okay, I really like the tone of this. I like, the style of it. All the actors I think fit perfectly. People are gonna be like, they aren't. This person doesn't seem exactly like, Dan Aykroyd or whatever. It's like they don't have to. They just kind of have to embody that kind of same energy to them. But even as it is, I think they all, from what we've seen so far, do an excellent job of playing these characters. Especially, is it Gabriel LaBelle? Is that his name? He plays Lorne Michaels.
Yeah,
He's the kid from the
Gabriel LaBelle.
Yeah, from the Fablemans. He played young, well, not Steven Spielberg.
Thank
but
you. That's who that was. I like, because I'm watching the trailer and I'm like, I know these faces, but I don't know them enough yet. Like, who's the guy that was talking to him, basically saying they want you to fail? The scene where they're talking in the stairwell. I'm like, who's this actor? Is that the guy from? Was he the one from Licorice Pizza?
Oh, I don't have it in front of me right now.
Yeah, I don't know who he. Oh yeah, Dick Ebersol, Cooper Hoffman. Yes, that is the guy from Licorice Pizza. Which I didn't care for Licorice Pizza, but I thought he still had a good performance in it. But like I said, the guy playing Chevy Chase is Corey Michael Smith, which his IMDb photo makes him look like fucking oh god, blanking on his name. Wow. Jupiter Rising, Fantastic Beasts. Corey Michael Smith, his IMDb. He looks like Eddie Redmayne. He looks like Eddie Redmayne in his picture.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, because Gabriel Bell, though, I only know him from Fablemans. I'm like, really? The kid from that's going to play Lorne Michaels? But I'm like,
I know who he is now. I know exactly who he is. For anyone who watched Gotham, he's the Riddler.
Oh, okay.
Which I
Ella Hunt, who plays Gilda Radner, I know from Anna and the Apocalypse, which is kind of a fun musical Christmas horror movie. Finn Wolfhard's in there. Dylan O'Brien. Willem Dafoe is in there. Nicholas Braun plays both Andy Kaufman and Jim Henson. I actually like Nicholas Braun. And Lamorne Morris, who most people know from like Game Night, maybe a couple other things. He plays Garrett Morris.
New Girl.
But just and then and what was the other one? J.K. Simmons as Milton Berle. Yeah. So this one had me sold already, but then the trailer, this is a very well done trailer because it's like you said, it's one of my most anticipated ones the rest of the year now.
I know this is not going to happen. I think from the trailer alone, I wouldn't have been mad if they had done this 90-minute thing all in a one shot, like Birdman it, and like just so that way you're in the chaos of it. This was a one shot movie. And just so that way you were breathing in the chaos of what this night was going to be, because it looks like utter chaos, which I think is why I think you and I are even more excited, because it feels very much like Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip.
What I don't know for sure, I don't think it's done in like a one shot style.
Oh, it's not. But I'm saying I would love if it was.
But I do think it's done like in real time, like 90 minutes is 90 minutes. So it's going to be kind of have that kind of, you get the full effect of the tension and everything building there. So
yeah. So anyway, that when we do our at the end of this month, when we do our end of summer fall preview, that is definitely going to be something that we are definitely going to be talking a little bit more on, and definitely be on our most anticipated for the rest of the year. What was the next movie for you?
I didn't have any other trailers written down besides the D23 stuff. So what else do you have?
The 4:30 movie.
Oh,
new Kevin Smith film. Not gonna lie, this one I like the way it looked. It didn't look like a Kevin Smith movie, but then it has all the same people in it. It looks almost like he wants to cast some younger names, maybe start with a new group of comedy performers, while still having some of the old people there. Like we see, granted they're not playing the same characters, but we see Dante, we see Randall. In the movie, we get Justin Long pops up in there. We got Jason Lee, but there's other actors in here that I do like that I see. We got Genesis Rodriguez, we've got Sam Richardson, Adam Pawley. Obviously, his daughter's in the movie, but I think she's in it more for like trailers than for a movie than anything else. But I mean, the concept of the film, it felt very much like an 80s movie, much like you would get with a lot of those films. God, I'm blanking on George Lucas's movie from
What
the
movie?
60s. George Lucas's film 60s with Richard Dreyfuss.
American Graffiti.
Yeah, American Graffiti. It feels very much in that kind of realm-esque kind of thing, but with Kevin Smith. And I'm sorry, I watched it. I was like, you know what? This actually kind of has almost that little bit of charm, which with Kevin Smith, you're like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but the trailer worked for me. Did it work for you at all? Did you care? Or?
It's hit and miss. The problem is Kevin Smith for me, as years have gone on, he's gotten really hit and miss for me. And this one, you said it doesn't look like a Kevin Smith film. I think it absolutely looks like a Kevin Smith film because he's, no matter how much he's, maybe grown as a filmmaker, it still has like a very amateurish look to the way it's filmed and the way it's staged, and just it looks like a Kevin Smith film. But that's not a bad thing. He's not trying to make big beautiful sci-fi blockbusters or anything. It's just
he's not having those $100 million budgets.
So and like I can watch the Clerks movies or whatever and Jay and Silent Bob and not care about the filmmaking of it, but it's fine. It's funny. This one, like you said, I love that, especially being an 80s kid. Essentially, I love the 80s aesthetic of it. So has that going for it. I'm not sure I'm going to love all the acting in it. I think a lot of it feels a little bit amateur. But again, I haven't seen the full movie.
But also, that's Kevin Smith as well, though.
It's Kevin Smith, but I don't know if you just give somebody a pass for that, though. But to me, the trailer I didn't love it. It looks okay. It doesn't have me super excited for it. But, I'll watch it and make my decision then. I did say, I remember talking to somebody about it, and I said, as far as upcoming, high school trying to get laid movies, there's one coming out on Netflix called Incoming, which I think looks way funnier.
Who's in that?
I don't think anybody recognizable. It's a Netflix movie, but it feels kind of like did you ever watch Project X, that party movie?
I think because you made me watch it.
It kind of feels like it has that kind of vibe to it, but it's kind of like that mixed with American Pie.
Oh no, I know. Okay, I've seen this trailer. Mason Thames is the only name, and he's from your favorite movie, Black Phone.
Oh, him.
He's the main kid from Black Phone.
But anyway,
So,
I thought that one kind of has similar theme. It's obviously gonna be a different style, but I thought that one looks much funnier to me. But 4:30 might be okay. We'll see.
Yeah. The only trailer I got left before I go to D23, this one was just out of straight comicalness of just like, this is so fucking dumb. There's a Netflix movie coming out that's based on a book. So I'm sorry if you guys are fans of this, but I'm sorry, this trailer did not do a good job. Called The Uglies. It's like,
by the way, it's a series of books. It's not even just one.
It's a franchise of books. The whole time I watch this, I'm like, so this is basically like Divergent, but except that when you get to a certain age, it's not like we're putting you in a class of people for jobs. It's everyone's born ugly, and then when they get to a certain age, they get like surgery done on them to make them look pretty. And
so my sister-in-law read this book with her daughter in a book club, and she fucking hated it. Basically, it's not necessarily everyone's born ugly. Some people are born beautiful. Basically, what it comes down to is there's this world, this utopia, where only pretty people are allowed to live in the main world. And so if you're pretty, you're in. If you're ugly, you can choose to get surgery and stuff to get pretty so you can live here. But if you want to stay yourself, the uglies are forced to live often, I don't know, go forage in the woods or something.
Yeah, they become troll people.
Yeah, you're basically banned.
This concept is so dumb.
Well, the concept is dumb. First of all, the concept of it is stupid. Then there's the fact that, from what I was watching, the uglies were really prettier than most of the pretties.
I know,
first of all, the only thing that made these people ugly was their hair was a little messy, and their the pretty people all looked like total plastic. It looked like fake, and it's not even pretty. They looked like
it's honestly, it's a lot like Hunger Games to a point where it's like, well, okay, well, you got fucking Jennifer Lawrence over here who's fucking gorgeous, but they're trying to pretend like she's ugly, and then you got all the people from District 1 that look like fucking clowns, and they're like, oh, they're beautiful. I'm like, are they though?
No.
It's like,
But
no.
the funniest part of this movie to me is like, first of all, like I said, I had heard of it beforehand because of my sister-in-law. But if I had not already known what this was going into it, and I'm watching this trailer and the title comes out where it's actually called The Uglies, I'd been rolling on the floor laughing. It's the stupidest
They
title ever.
call themselves that in the movie. But then to top it all off, it stars our favorite girl that we love to shit on, Joey King, who, granted, as of late, has actually started to kind of win us over a little bit with like The Princess and Family Affair. But
And Blood and Bullet Train.
yeah, and Bullet Train. But having her be in this is like, oh, I can't wait to be pretty. And then you got a guy like, things will be different for you once you're pretty. Just like, of course, they casted Joey King in this, who's a girl who they constantly are trying to portray as like not pretty. She's not ugly by any means, but I mean, yeah, she's not like fucking Margot Robbie or anything. But it's like, it's just, I laughed so hard when I was like, of course they casted Joey fucking King for this movie. Like, this perfect casting, guys. A+ work here. But this movie is so fucking dumb. I'm sorry. I don't know who thought that this. I don't know how this franchise works in the books. I don't. Maybe the books sell it off a lot better. But this very much feels
Not
like,
from what I've heard. She like I said, there's a series, and both her and her daughter are like, yeah, we're done after the
this
first
very
book.
much feels like Divergent for ugly people.
It's
This,
yeah, it's a version.
yeah. Like, we're gonna be ugly people. We're gonna rise above pretty people because fuck them. And it's like, really, that's the message we're going with on Netflix.
Well,
Is pretty
apparently,
is evil and ugly is good.
one of her complaints about the book was like at the end, basically the message was, yeah, maybe you should be pretty. You'll have a better life. I'm like, what?
And also, I'd like to comment that the main bad, or not the main bad guy, the main guy from the Uglies, I think his name's Kevin Miles, or it might be Keith Powers. I don't know which one it is. That dude's a good-looking motherfucker.
That's what I'm saying.
And
Most
he's
of the
supposed to
people
be
in the
ugly?
ugly camp were good-looking people, just with like
Yeah.
messy hair.
Yeah. Oh no, they got smut on their face. Ew. It's the whole like, oh great, she's got a ponytail and glasses and overalls. Ew. And it's like no, Rachel Lee Cook is still fucking Rachel Lee Cook. You could put shit on her face. She's still Rachel Lee Cook, guys. Calm the fuck
Oh,
down.
and I forgot the thing. The thing that made me hate the trailer the most was the presence of Laverne Cox. I don't like Laverne Cox, and especially when you try and portray them, her. I don't know what she goes as. I apologize. If try to portray that person as beautiful, it's like, not so much.
I don't have
She's
a
one of
problem
the
with her,
pretty.
but I don't have a problem with her, but I also watched Orange is the New Black, and I thought she was great in that.
Yeah,
But
she's
anyway,
fine in that role. Just I
yeah.
didn't like in this role. Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely one that we are either going to just completely ignore, or we're gonna hate watch this shit out of this
So,
thing. But anyway, on to D23. There was a lot of shit that got dropped on D23. Some of it was like snippets, like, hey, Incredibles 3, which I love the Incredibles, but I was not happy with Incredibles Part 2, so part of me is kind of like, oh, if you're gonna do Incredibles 3, please make sure to actually stick the landing this time, because Incredibles 2 I thought was a severe downgrade from the first Incredibles film. We got the plot for Toy Story 5, which I'm a little confused by, because they dropped like an artistic image of like the toys looking at a kid playing with an iPad, and I'm like, well, there's fucking Woody. How the fuck did Woody get back with the group? Because at the end of Toy Story 4, Woody and Bo Peep got left at a fair, and everyone else fucking drove off and left their ass. So how the fuck does Woody get back to them? I would love to have that explanation for me. But I love Toy Story. I've loved every single one of the films, even though everyone wants to come up to me and say Toy Story 4 is not good. I still think Toy Story 4 was great. But I would love an explanation for how Woody is back with them in this fifth film. I think the topic is good. The whole tech thing, I think that will work. I just would love to know how the fuck Woody got back with the group. They announced Frozen 3 is coming out in 2027, and then there's also going to be a Frozen 4. Let's see, we got Avatar got its title, which was what,
Fire and Ash.
Fire and Ash, which okay. I think we all love to shit on Avatar, but we all actually end up enjoying the Avatar movies whenever they come out. So it is what it is. Okay, cool. Hopefully it actually does come out when it's supposed to come out, and it's not postponed 18 times again until we finally get to see it. We got a new trailer for Moana, more of a structured story trailer for it. I like the first Moana. I have no problems with the second one. So I really have nothing much to say about that one. Do you have anything to say about Moana?
No, because Moana is a movie that I don't dislike it. It's just never really grabbed me. I haven't loved it the way I've loved some other Disney movies. So they said they're making a second one, which originally this was supposed to go straight to Disney Plus. They decided to go theatrical with it instead, which
That movie's going to make a shitload of money.
because it's going to make a shitload of money,
yes.
and yeah. So I mean that's a vote of confidence for it too, that it must be good enough they felt it was worthy of theatrical release. But I watched the trailer and it does nothing for me. I'm sure it's going to be an enjoyable film, but I'm not excited about it. That's what it is.
If they've dropped that on Disney Plus, that'd be one of the worst fucking money mistakes Disney would ever make, because that movie's going to make
the same. It's billions of dollars to give it away, because it's the same thing with Toy Story. Toy Story 2 was originally supposed to be a direct-to-home video movie, and they watched it and they're like, "Wait a minute, we can put this out theatrically," and now they've made 3 coming on 4 more movies.
At a bare minimum, Moana's going to make $750 million. At a minimum, it's easily going to make $1 billion. If you decide to just draw that Disney Plus, you guys are fucking fired. like the stupidity of that would just be idiotic. We got new trailers for Agatha All Along, which I don't know about you. I'm actually starting to get excited for this. I'm really liking what we're getting out of this. Of course,
it looks like what I always said a Disney Plus show should be. It looks like kind of just it's in its own world. It's not necessarily going to try and connect to the rest of the universe, and it looks like it's going to be a fun, whatever it is, 8-10 episodes, and it'll be what it is. And I think Aubrey Plaza looks like she's going to be a blast on it. So
yeah, she looks great. We got a granted, if you are on Twitter and you watch someone's cell phone footage of it, we got what looked like a trailer for Daredevil, which I couldn't really hear the trailer because of the the cell phone reception of that, but visually I liked what it looked like. So I'm excited for that. They said first season's 18 episodes. They're already getting ready to start season 2, which makes me fucking happy knowing that we're already going to get a season 2 of this, because I love Charlie Cox's Daredevil, and all the performances and characters from the Netflix series are coming back, which makes me happy. Brian, you're gonna have to fucking watch Daredevil at some point, dude. Trust me, you'll like it. You'll like it. Trust me, you'll like it. And the Punisher, because John Bernathal's coming back as Punisher, which they're gonna have to explain.
You keep showing pictures of the Punisher. He just looks so scrawny to be. Punisher's supposed to be a big, strong dude, and he's like the little scrawny short dude.
Was Thomas Jane big? No, he wasn't.
No, that one wasn't right either. No,
but Bernathal's way more scarier than Thomas Jane. But they're gonna have to explain how the Thing and Punisher's best buddy are in the same. Actually, no, they're not in the same world. Fantastic Four is not in the same world. So, because Eben Moss is Punisher's best friend.
They don't need to. Gemma Chan was in
I know.
Captain Marvel, and she's in Eternals. It's fine, whatever.
I know, it's fine. But yeah, that looked good. I think we got more footage of Captain America: Brave New World. I think we saw more of Red Hulk, which I thought looked actually really, really good.
I'm still not sold on caring a whole lot about Sam or caring much about. I don't know where the plot of this movie is going, but Red Hulk has me excited. So
yeah. Plus, like I said, anything with Harrison Ford, and he's given even a 10th of care into it, I'm there for. There was little snippets of Thunderbolts, but not enough to really be newsworthy. I didn't really get to see much of anything for that. Let's see, other Marvel stuff. What else did we get? Help me out here. I feel like I'm missing.
As far as Marvel, let me see: Daredevil, Fantastic Four, Agatha.
And yes, the big thing, guys, we're leaving that to last. I know it was Comic-Con. We're going to talk about the big thing in a little bit, but
that was it for Marvel.
I feel like I'm missing something, but Ironheart. They dropped the trailer.
They showed footage of it there, but that wasn't shown online. Yeah.
No, and like I said, it was fine for what it is. I'm still gonna watch it. I'll check it out. But yeah.
Honestly, the only reason I mentioned Ironheart is because Anthony Ramos is in it.
Exactly, he's gonna be the bad guy.
I don't really care about it. I don't care about this derivative, Iron Man suit. I don't. I mean, I'll watch it, and I hope it's good. But
and having Anthony Ramos in it is going to make me watch it. So at any point, if there's a moment where I didn't care, putting Anthony Ramos in there has made me now want to watch that show. Outside of that, we had Star Wars stuff. We got, I guess, footage of Mandalorian and Grogu. God, they got to come up with a better name for that. I do not want that to be the title.
I hate the title of it. I think it's going to be the title. I hate the title of it. You know how I feel about so much focus on Grogu. I do like that they showed like some of the concept art and things from it, and there's things about it, like they showed, I think they were back on Scarif at one point, and just the scale of it looks much more than the TV show. So I'm hopeful for it.
I saw someone posted what they got to see, and it looks like they're also on Hoth at one point. There's some AT-ATs, some ATSTs in the scene.
I haven't seen that. I have to look that up.
Oh yeah, it's out there. Zeb, for my Star Wars Rebels fans out there, it looks like he's going to be with them for a part of it, because we only saw Zeb for like a blink and you miss a moment in, I think, Mandalorian season 3. He looks like he's going to have some actual scenes in it, so I'm all there for Zeb. We also got some talk about Andor. No footage, but we got some talk about Andor.
No, we find out Ben Mendelsohn's Krennic's coming back, and Forrest Whitaker as Saw Gerrera is going to be in it as well.
Well, I think they said that the final episode of Andor takes place 4 days before Rogue One. So we could be seeing a lot more of the Rogue One.
Yeah, I'm saying those are the two that they've announced.
Yeah.
Because they announced way back when that this takes place over 4 years. Basically, the first season was a year, and this season's going to be like I think it's 2 episodes each year, I think is what it is.
Something
2 or 3.
Yeah. Something like that. So I'm all here for Andor. The only thing we did get a trailer for, legitimate trailer for you could actually watch and see that's not a cell phone footage, was Skeleton Crew. Now, this is one that I have been hearing about for a while. I've been hearing positive things. I've been hearing not so positive things. Did you actually watch the trailer for this?
I did.
Okay. What are your thoughts? Because I'm not leaning towards negative or positive. I'm more intrigued, but not excited, but I'm intrigued by it.
Here's my thing. I'm intrigued by the
concept
of it and the tone of what I've seen in the trailer, because it's directed by John Watts, who did like the Spider-Man films, the recent Spider-Man films, and it feels very much almost like an Amblin Entertainment kind of take on it too. It kind of has that kind of a Goonies or a something like that.
Super 8, but
it definitely has that tone to it. Super 8's another one, yeah. And so I really like that tone. I like seeing we're gonna see that kind of Star Wars universe through these children's eyes, essentially. And I'm like, okay, this is a nice approach. It'd be a different tone. I mean, it's not going to be an all-out war, and it's not going to be deep drama. Maybe it's kind of we can see what through a kid's eyes what this world's like. But the trailer itself, now granted, this is like December, I think it comes out.
December, yeah.
So we don't have like really a full story trailer. But I'm looking at it and like, there's nothing about this that makes me excited about whatever the plot's going to be, whatever I don't even know for sure where this fits in the timeline kind of thing. I'm sure they've announced that, but I don't know it. But and Jude Law, I love Jude Law, but we only see him briefly at the end of the trailer.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the tone and the concept of it have me interested, but I'm not excited yet.
I wasn't necessarily prepared for Star Wars in the suburbs. Like that threw me, because you have like kids walking around going to school and they're talking like it's like Sky High but Star Wars. Like I wasn't really prepared for that. But it's also like I'm not mad at it, but I'm just also it's almost like a culture shock. I was like, oh, wow, if you were gonna tell me that we were gonna have like Star Wars in like Indiana small town suburb, my brain wouldn't be able to compute that. But it looks like that's only for like maybe the first episode or two, and then they're gonna go off and do their own thing. So it's just kind of one of those, like, you just have to kind of ride the wave. But like I said, I'm not, and I agree. It's seeing Star Wars through the world of a child's eyes, I think, is a differently unique approach, because we are seeing shows that are more dedicated towards children, like the animated shows, but it's still adult characters or teenage at most kind of characters, but with adult themes and stuff like that. We've never seen it portrayed through kids. And so that has the approach to either come off super kiddie, where it's not going to be me and Brian's, lane, or it'll have the same focal points that we want, but done in a different, unique way through kids, with Jude Law kind of, I guess, being the bridge to get us to stay, in tune with it. So I'm optimistic with it. I think I'm more optimistic now with this than I probably was with the Acolyte, which is weird. But I'm also not going to go in with like super excited anticipation because of the Acolyte. Speaking of the Acolyte, I did hear that Manny is going to be playing Lindsay Lohan's husband in Freakier Friday. So
I did
good
not
for
know
him.
that. I'm sorry to hear that for him. I'm sorry for him.
Hey, he's getting a movie. So I'm
No,
gonna
I like seeing him get movies, but to have to act opposite Lindsay Lohan.
and Jamie Lee Curtis.
Hmm.
So I mean, I'm not mad at that. But yeah, they announced that he's going to be the husband in that movie. But yeah, anything else news related besides the trailers that I left out?
Let me see. There's more stuff. Monster Jam movie with The Rock.
Which is he playing a monster truck? Is this like Cars with monster trucks, or
I
is
don't
he
think
the
so. I want
driver?
to say that this almost feels like it's going to be like him as a monster truck driver in this world. And I don't know if it's a family. Well, it's using the Disney name, so it must be a family film. So I don't know what that one's going to be. Maybe it'll be like Stallone's Over the Top, but with Disney version. I don't know. Pixar's Hoppers, which is a movie nobody'd heard of, is coming out. Apparently, this girl can like switch minds with a beaver or something like that.
I didn't hear anything about the movie. I heard of it, but there was like no plot summary for me.
Yeah,
So
but it's a
I didn't
Pixar movie
go
called
on.
Hoppers. There's something about this girl who can trade minds with a beaver, and they showed like the concept of art of it, and it looks like it could be entertaining, but we don't really know much about it. That's not coming out to like 26.
Pixar is also getting their own first show called Win or
Called Win or
Lose.
Lose. Yep, we heard of
It's
that.
like a bunch of like little kids like baseball league, which baseball, I'm there for it, but it looks way too kiddie for me. But it's Pixar. I might check out an episode or two.
We got a full trailer for Snow White.
Yes, Snow White.
Which I like Rachel Zegler so much. This movie looks like dog shit to me. Now, granted, I don't really care about Disney's Snow White. I think that's one of the most boring movies ever made. Sue me, but it's like I think it's one of the shortest, like barely 60 minutes, but it feels like 3 hours. I don't love the story, but this trailer I thought did not look very very good. So I don't know, but Gal Gadot as the queen. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I'm fine with Rachel Zegler. I'm not, head over heels in love with her like you are. I think she's solid in a lot of things. I am intrigued by Gal Gadot playing the evil witch. I think that is intriguing for me. But no, the trailer didn't do a whole lot for me. Now, granted, it's a teaser, so maybe when they come out with a legit trailer, I'll feel a little bit differently. But I agree, Snow White was never really a big focal point for me.
And the dwarfs just look so cartoony. It's just like, oh.
Like I said, they didn't really show them much at all in the teaser, so it's more how the actual trailer is going to be that's going to decide if I really care enough to want to care or not with this movie. We got an actual story trailer for Mufasa, the Lion King.
Here's what I think. Let me jump in on this because Lion King.
Go ahead.
The live action. I'll call it the live action Lion King, even though it's not live action, it's animated. But that's a movie that I fucking has no reason to exist, and I did not enjoy. I think I did finally end up watching it, but I did not enjoy it. Doesn't need to exist. Now Mufasa, I thought though, okay, I have no problem with doing a live action, live action animated story in the Lion King universe, but at least with Mufasa, we're getting a different story. This is something new to us, so I think this one has more reason to exist. And I thought that, from the teaser I saw, I'm like, okay, this might be good. Having watched this full story trailer, I've actually lost interest in it. It's like it looked kind of boring to me. I thought the CG looked kind of really bad in some points. It just looked very, very fake, whereas I thought it looked a little bit more real even the first movie. But I've lost interest in this movie. The only thing that might make me want to see it is there are songs by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah. Here's my thought process of it. I agree. I, like most people, did not like the new Lion King. You basically took some of the most important scenes of some of our childhoods or young adult teenage years, for Brian's case, and you made them feel empty. Like, I'm sorry, like the Deathly Mufasa is one of those moments as a child that you will never ever forget, and you're ready for it to like rip your heart out because oh my god, they're lifelike now. But it didn't sell because the eyes of the lions just looked like dead. So it's like, oh wow, you how did you fuck this up? How did you neuter one of the most like heart-wrenching moments in Disney animated history? And not to mention, like I said, the movie literally has 90 seconds of a dung beetle rolling a piece of shit across screen. What makes you think that that was like Disney's going, this is fucking magic? It's like, what the fuck? So when they announced this, I'm like, wow. Granted, it made a fuckload of money, but I don't think anyone actually. There is no one, and if you are, you're a fucking liar, or you're like you're a young kid who's never watched the animated film. No one is going to pick the new Lion King over the OG Lion King. Nope. No one. There's not a single fucking person out there. Like I say, you're either lying, being a troll, or you're a young kid who's never watched the animated series, which you're a horrible fucking parent for not having your kid watch the animated one and watch that atrocity. So when we heard that Mufasa was coming, I'm like, are we really gonna double down on this? Well, yeah, I made over $1 billion. Of course they are. But like you, I agree. I was like, you know what? If they did this as the first introduction to doing these Lion Kings, I would be more open to this because it's a new story. It's something unique and different and new. And you know what? If this ended up being good, then maybe we would do the actual Lion King like this. But like I said, this is alternate universe. But because you're giving us something unique, we would be prepared for it better with this than giving us these iconic redone scenes and it not working. This is all new shit. But halfway through the trailer, I was like, I'm losing. I'm like, this is only like 2 minutes, and I'm like a minute left in this. I don't care. And then I heard like the first song that you could hear was like, I've always wanted a brother. And like, I was like, oh, is this an actual song? Oh God, that's not good. I was like, that's not good at all. And the trailer ended, and I'm like, I have like little to zero expectations or excitement level for this. I don't think any of the cast, like the only cast I'm looking at that I'm like, ooh, are all people from the first film. And they're probably in like maybe 5 minutes of it because it sounds like they're just telling the story of Mufasa and Scar, who I guess his real name is Taka, that we find out in the trailer is Scar. So, and then like I even got confused by like in the trailer, it's like, is Mufasa the orphan? Is Taka the orphan?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I think it turns out Mufasa's the orphan, so it's not even like his real brother.
I thought Mufasa saved Taka, and I was like, I'm already confused, and it's the fucking.
I thought it was just me. I lost track, but I
lost track of who was.
Here's the thing: I lost track, but I didn't care enough to back up and figure it out.
Exactly. That was in the same fucking boat. I was like, that's not good. That's not good at all. So, yeah, Color, me and Brian both just okay, like I'm sure I'll check it out.
I'll check it out maybe on Disney Plus. Unless someone tells me it's an awesome movie and I have to rush out and see it, I won't see this in theaters.
Let's put it this way: when it gets to when's it come out? It's in December. Trying to see where the actual date is on this thing. Okay, let's just say December 16th. It comes out. That could be wrong, but let me say December 20th. I was close. If on December 20th. If I'm like, hey, let's go to the movies, and this is the only thing out that I haven't seen, then sure, I will go see Mufasa. But
supposedly Sonic 3 is that day too.
What's that?
Sonic 3 is supposedly the same day. I have to think that they'll move that.
I was like, I'm gonna pick Sonic 3.
Right.
I'm gonna pick Sonic 3.
But I don't think they'll open against it. I think they'll move. But anyway.
But yeah, if there's anything else remotely out that weekend that even entices me just a bit, I'm probably gonna pick that over Mufasa. Just because this trailer didn't win me over. And this is the second trailer. We had a teaser already. This is the story trailer, and I don't care. I don't. Yeah, and like you said, you and I both lost track of it in the midst of a 2-minute trailer. What the fuck's gonna happen on a fucking 2-hour movie of that? I don't know.
We got our first look at live action Stitch from Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
Which I don't love the movie Lilo and Stitch. I think it's fine.
I'm in the same boat.
It's that 2000s era of Disney animation, which I thought were all mediocre to bad, honestly. Yeah. This one was fine. It was cute. I will say that I think they've done a great job of making like a live action, well, CG rendered, but live action film version of Stitch. I think he looks perfect. And
I think he looks great.
and so I think that could be interesting. There was two other things. Oh, Zootopia 2, which we knew was coming.
Kehu
That is
Kwan.
hmm?
Kehu
Yes,
Kwan.
is confirmed for Thanksgiving next year, and Kiwi Kwan's playing a snake named Gary. He's the new
Which
character.
you picked one of my favorite animals, and he's playing it. I'm fucking there. I'm so there for that, and I haven't even seen a trailer. All I've seen is a picture of him, and I'm like, all right, you already sold me on Zootopia.
And then the last thing is they got a little bit more information on Tron Ares. They showed just a couple snippets, a couple of concept arts, things like that, some photos. Don't know a whole lot about the movie. You know, Jared Leto's in it. Jeff Bridges apparently back in it.
No Garrett Hedlund.
No Garrett Hedlund in this, or Olivia
Wilde.
I wasn't Cook. I'm like, that's not right. They're not in it. The music, Daft Punk has since broken up, so obviously they weren't doing the music for this anymore. But they got Nine Inch Nails doing it, which I think could fit, in kind of the same kind of style to it. So we'll see. But that's all we have from D23. That as far as
Tron's always been a movie that looks great, but I don't know if I care enough about the story to really be excited for that.
Well, here's the irony of it: is Tron. The first movie was like all this, breakthrough, computer effects and things like that for its time.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit boring. Tron Legacy, I was actually more involved in the story, and most of the effects were good, but that de-aged Jeff Bridges was just so bad that it was like it really took me out of the movie. And it was just like one of those things where it's like the technology just wasn't quite there yet for that.
I excused it because they were in the game world. Where I was like, okay, if this was in the real world, then it's like, oh no. But then it's like
when they showed flashbacks to him, like when he first left his kid, they were using that. That's the main shot of it. Like,
yeah.
Anyway,
I excused it because they were inside Tron at that
I'm
point.
still interested in this. I'm not super excited about this, but I'm definitely going to check it out when it comes out.
The only thing I know, because I did see the cell phone footage of it, is that it looks like the game has broken into the real world. So they're showing the Tron cycles, driving over real cars and people not knowing how to react.
Yeah, it's like from what I understand, Jared Leto's characters are basically an invasion into the real world.
Yeah. Honestly, the first thing that popped in my head when I saw that, fucking Pixels.
Oh god.
Now, granted,
Pixels in concept. Pixels in concept was such I watched the short film, and then I heard they're making a movie. I'm like, this is going to be awesome. Make a real film out of this. This could be so much fun. And they're like, oh, it's going to be fucking Sandler and Kevin James. Fuck this movie.
I didn't hate Pixels. I didn't hate it. But when I saw Tron, I was like, this is reminding me of Pixels. And not in the way of going, ooh, it's like, really? This is what we're going to do? Now, granted, like I said, it was cell phone footage. I'll wait for the real footage to come out and then have an HK case, but I'm not super excited because honestly, anything with Jared Leto, I immediately start to lose interest. I don't know. Honestly, dude lost so much goodwill with me after Joker and Morbius that every time he pops up now, I'm immediately just half out the door with him. But that's it for D23. Our big news, which granted, I'm sure there's been thousands upon thousands upon thousands of videos about this already, but you haven't heard it from us. Comic-Con. The only thing worth talking about for Comic-Con.
Yeah, Comic-Con was basically almost nothing new and exciting at all, except for
we were tempted by so many things. They're going to talk about this. Granted, we got some Fantastic Four stuff, which I liked what we saw from that. But the big thing was the announcement of who was playing Dr. Doom.
Well, it was kind of a three-tiered announcement because they're like, okay, guess what? The Russo brothers are coming back. Like, yes, that's great. They did a phenomenal job with all of the Marvel movies that they've directed, Winter Soldier and Civil War, and then especially with the two Avengers films. Yeah. I'm like, I love they're coming back. They know how to handle these large casts, these epic scale films. They're perfect for these. It's great. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to direct this. We're happy to do Secret Wars. It's going to be so much fun. I'm like, oh, well, but wait, here's the second part. Well, because before we do Secret Wars, we have to do the movie before that, which is Doomsday. And of course, it's got the colors and everything. So clearly, it's going to be about Dr. Doom. And like, whoa, that's awesome. We're going to lead up to Dr. Doom. That's cool. And then and they have all the people in the Doom costumes come out. And then and then here we have to find a great actor to play him. And then it is Robert Downey Jr.
I remember as this was going on live, I was texting Brian and I was like, hey, are you keeping up with Comic-Con stuff? And we're talking, we're all like, yeah, it's nothing super crazy or anything like that. And then both of us collectively, right when they announced it, we're both going, "Oh shit!" I was like, okay. I was like, we're definitely talking about this, and like, but here's the funny thing, like, I think after the collective like shock of it all, it just seemed like everyone went super negative with this.
There's been so much backlash, and that comes from the fact that in the past couple of years, everyone's basically kind of almost rooting for Marvel to fail. They're like, they've been so disappointed lately, and Marvel's falling apart, and the MCU is off track and all stuff. And so now people look at this and they go, oh, well, they know things have been bad, so they're just going back to the well. They're just bringing back Robert Downey Jr. And it's like, well, no, because there's a story way to do it. There's a reason for it to happen, and actually, we'll get into it. But what I think is a very interesting way to bring him back into it, it's not like they're bringing back Iron Man. They're just bringing back an actor. But there's definitely been this like backlash, this negativity coming towards it.
And it's like, I'm sorry. Okay, I get people now. Okay, I can see where some of the negativity comes from. This would be like if X-Men was finally coming to the MCU, which it is, and they announced that Magneto is just another variant of Xavier. And you have your people who love Magneto. Magneto's their favorite character of all time and all this kind of stuff. And it's Patrick fucking Stewart. And he's like, what the fuck is that? No, that's not Magneto. That's just Xavier. So for the actual Victor Von Doom fans, I get it. I understand. That's not what you wanted when the MCU was bringing in, Dr. Doom. For the people who just want to hate this because it's Robert Downey Jr., shut the fuck up. Like, this is brilliant. Because I don't know about you, but I think you and I are the same mindset. I cannot wait for the fucking moment when Peter sees this version of Doom and just what that's going to do to Parker at that fucking moment. That right there is more than enough for me to be super fucking excited for this. If Robert Downey Jr. brings just an ounce of Tony, but because he's, I don't think they've ever clarified it yet. If he's Tony Stark.
Oh, they haven't revealed anything yet. This is just pure speculation.
Yeah, yes. It's like he's either Tony Stark or he is Victor Von Doom, but he's Tony. A lot of people are just assuming he's Tony Stark, which he very well could be, but he could also still be Victor Von Doom, just looking like Tony Stark.
I don't think that'd be the stupidest way to go about it, because there's no reason to have him look like Tony Stark if he's not Tony Stark. So what I think is the prevalent theory going on this is that because we're dealing with multiverses and things, in one multiverse, Tony Stark, instead of having this experience in the caves and getting away from making arms and things like this, and the path his life took, in this other version, whatever happened, he broke bad and basically became a supervillain. And like I said, so this is a different Tony Stark. So it looks like him, but it is a different person, different character.
For the record, they can easily do it where he's Victor Von Doom. Chris Evans, now canon, is two different characters. He's Johnny Storm and he's fucking Captain America, canon in the MCU. I'll just say it. They can do it. And it can make sense.
Well, it wouldn't make sense at all. They did that because there was a Fox universe and the MCU, and then they decided to bring him into it for a quick cameo.
It's no different than when they recast.
Also, I think that nothing in Deadpool should be considered.
Okay, well then go Doctor Doom, or Doctor Doom. Then go Doctor Strange. John Krasinski and Pedro Pascal are two different Reed Richards. Patrick Stewart's going to be Xavier, but we're obviously going to be getting a different a different Xavier. So it can work where Robert Downey Jr.
is. If they bring Robert Downey Jr. back and he is just Victor Von Doom, just happens to have the same look to him, then that is totally just we're trying to cash in, and we just want to bring back an actor that we knew people wanted to see. So that I can pretty much guarantee that is not the direction they're going. This is going to have some connection to Tony Stark.
I'm fine either way. obviously, I'm just being devil's advocate to kind of just
Right.
poke at Brian right now. So.
But and like you said, that moment when any of the characters, but especially Peter, when they first encounter him. But then it also raises the question: is how much of this movie is Doctor Doom going to not have his mask on? Which then also makes me raise the question: is Robert Downey Jr. going to be doing mostly voice work and some stand-in? It's gonna be like the Mandalorian all over again, where
No, but it could very well be much like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, where it's like, guys, he's got a mask, but you're paying to see our Robert's face.
So like you said, I understand if people that are really into Doctor Doom are mad about this, but 99% of the movie going public that sees the movies never read the comics, things like that. And even I'm into comics, but I was never huge into Fantastic Four. I don't care about Doctor Doom. I have no attachment to who exactly his character was in the comics. So, but this for the first time has me actually interested in Doctor Doom. Like when I thought that he might be in the Fantastic Four movie, I'm like, I don't care about another version of Doctor Doom. But now I'm actually interested in this story. I'm like, ooh, this character has me super intrigued, and I want to see how they handle it and where they go with it.
Yeah, I am all for this. I think this is going to be awesome for the MCU. And that's not because, hey, we're getting Tony Stark back. No, I think this is clever in terms of a mind fuck for everyone in Earth 616 when Doctor Doom comes through. Because of the cat. Now, granted, like I said, there's still some stuff that has to be figured out for Peter. Because no one remembers Peter. So Peter remembers everybody, but no one remembers Peter. So how is Spider-Man going to be in the Avengers again? That's a whole plot point that we need to get to at a certain point. But when Peter sees him, that's going to be a water cooler moment right there. That's going to be right up there with I Don't Want to Die, Tony, and then Dust for Peter. Like that's those two characters have grown such a bond over 3 movies, and to get this moment, that's going to be right up there when Cap seen Bucky for the first time as a Winter Soldier. I mean, it's going to be insane. And then of course you got the rest of the Avengers, which who knows who's in the Avengers at that point. But I mean, well,
that's it. We don't even know if Spider-Man will be in Doomsday.
He will.
Well, no, I almost wonder if because Doctor Doom plays a big part in. Granted, they could change things in the comic version. He plays a big part in what causes the Secret Wars thing. So he'll be in both movies. He's going to be a big role in both movies. So I almost wonder if, because you have to have some way to bring, like you said, bring Peter Parker back into this thing. Now it might not be in Doomsday. They might bring him in Secret Wars, or there's unannounced movies in between. One of those could finally be another Spider-Man movie that could, lead into it. So.
It better be. We can't go straight into Avengers where we left off with No Way Home. We got to have something new with Tom Holland's Peter Parker before any of these Avengers movies come out. But yeah, it's just we went into a mindset when we shot our MCU show where we were optimistic where things were potentially going to go. Now that we've had this dropped of, hey, from next year to Doomsday, we only know these things. But now that we know kind of not necessarily where the end game is, but we know where we're going.
It already happened a couple years ago.
I know. But now we know where the new Avengers movies are going, and they are going kind of where we still were going, but instead of Kang, it's which apparently, Jonathan Majors was super sad because he shot. Like, apparently, he was going to be in Agatha all along. He shot scenes for Agatha, and they had to remove it. So I mean, that sucks. But and I think everyone always. I think everyone.
I like Jonathan Majors, but I'm not sad to see the King character go. I was not loving that whole plot line, but anyway.
But I think they even said after Thanos was done that before Kang was even a thought, was like, well, who's going to be the new big bad? Who's going to be the new Thanos? Everyone was always saying, well, Doctor Doom would make the most sense. That Doctor Doom is the next big bad. So, and then they decided to go with Kang. So I feel like Doctor Doom was always just like, well, yeah, that makes sense. So when we're like, oh, who's going to replace Kang? Well, it's going to be Doctor Doom, guys. Like, I think everyone kind of knew it, especially with Fantastic Four coming. It's like, well, it's going to be Doctor Doom. But the announcement of Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, I think, like I said, masterful by them. And a lot of people
I think I felt in myself, but in a lot of other people, like finally a renewed excitement. Like, oh, now I'm excited to see, how we're getting to these Avengers movies.
And
Not only the films themselves, but leading up to them. Whereas before I was kind of like, we'll see where it goes.
And that's the thing too, is like, once again, guys, we do remember who runs the MCU, right? It's fucking Kevin Feige. Do you think Feige just brought him back as a lame, like, pop to get people just excited again? No. If he's doing this, there's a fucking plan. There is a plan for this. He has, him. He probably has a fucking whole blackboard written out of reasonings for this and how it's going to break up and how it's all going to make sense. Did we all just fucking forget who built the MCU from just Iron Man to what it is today? Which, granted, it's gotten bigger than probably what it should have been, but that's because it got so fucking popular. They're like, well, we need to have this person, this person, this person. And it probably got a little too big for Kevin. But he's going to narrow it back down. And I think this is the bridge point to do that. And while, yes, it might be returning back to square one to a lot of people, this isn't. This is honestly bridging what Brian hates, which is the multiverse, by bringing someone who is literally, if we're going off of Deadpool and Wolverine, the anchor point of the MCU, which is Tony Stark. Except now he's evil. And you're bringing the ultimate hero outside of Captain America, the ultimate hero of the MCU, but now he's the bad guy. And how are you going to react to this now that the ultimate hero is now the ultimate villain? And I could not be more excited to see what Robert Downey Jr. does with this role. Because he's going to choose him. And for anyone who's going, he's going back to the MCU because he proved he could. Dude, motherfucker, he just won an Oscar. He literally just won an Oscar. So shut up. He doesn't need the MCU. Granted, he's rich beyond fucking, everything because of the MCU, because he's fucking smart and he knows how to fucking do his contracts. That's a Robert Downey thing. That is not an MCU thing. That is Robert Downey Jr. being fucking clever as shit. He's Sherlock Holmes, motherfuckers. He knows how to make his money. But to know that he...
By the way, where's my third Sherlock Holmes movie? Damn it.
Eventually it'll come out. But if he's doing this, Robert Downey's not doing this for a quick payday. He wants to do this for a reason. And I guarantee you, him and Kevin have probably had these talks and these ideas and these thoughts. This isn't something like he's like, oh man, hey, Robert Downey, will you please be Dr. Doom? So that way people care. That's not what's happening here, guys. There's a fucking reason for this. And we're going to see it. And it's going to unfold, hopefully, very beautifully. And I could not be more excited to see what they do with this.
And I'm more confident in it knowing the Russos are the ones handling it.
Exactly. And that's the other thing, too, is everyone's like, oh, like, motherfuckers, did you guys forget what they've done for the MCU? They're just as important to the MCU as Robert Downey Jr., as Chris Evans, as all the top tier people from the MCU. Without the Russo brothers. As Feige, exactly. Without the Russo brothers, we wouldn't have Winter Soldier. We wouldn't have Civil War. We wouldn't have Infinity War. We wouldn't have Endgame. Or we would have them, but they probably wouldn't be nearly as fucking good. So shut your mouths. Stop disrespecting them. Yes, their movies have been fine to average at best since the MCU. But guess what? Spielberg has had shitty films. Cameron has had shitty films. Fucking Tarantino has had not some great stellar ones. That doesn't mean that when they get handed something that's fucking amazing, you go, ugh. It's like, shut up. The Russo brothers have brought us some of the best fucking films in the MCU. And when people are feeling that they're like losing faith, what do? You go get the people who will make it great. And that's the Russo brothers. And you're going to give someone who's going to turn the MCU on their head. That's Robert fucking Downey Jr. as the bad guy now. So everyone just needs to stop going so fucking negative. This is the MCU. This isn't Star Wars. Just go along for the ride and enjoy it. Because I'm sorry, Brian and I, we're on the train and we are first class and we are fucking ready to go. And I'm sorry, what I saw with Fantastic Four, I'm excited for that shit too. I'm excited for everything that the MCU is bringing to us, except for Ironheart, but that could change with Anthony Ramos. I feel so happy with what we're doing right now. And whether he's Tony Stark or whether he's Victor Von Doom, I don't care. Because I trust Feige and the Russos and Robert Downey Jr. to not fail at this. And if they do, we're going to be eating a lot of crow. But you know what? If I'm a betting man, I would not bet against those guys. Bottom line. And that's the long and short of it. And Brian's in agreement with me. And we will be probably talking about this ad nauseum over the next couple years until this happens. So strap in, guys, because this is not a one and done. We're gonna be anytime we get any new piece of information. This is like Jurassic Park 5 and or 7 and Scream, 7. Anytime we get a little piece of nuggets, guess what? We're gonna be fucking talking about it. So anything else you'd like to add before we go?
Nope.
All right. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you guys did, go and hit that like, share, and subscribe button to the channel so you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos pop up on the Movie Crusaders. And of course, you can follow us on all the social media outlets you see below. Coming up next, our next big movie is Alien Romulus. It's a movie that both Brian and I are excited to see. Not just because it's Alien, because Fede Alvarez is the director, and that is a dude that I trust once again with horror just as much as wow. I was about to give him praise, and his name immediately left my brain. Dr. Sleep director.
Mike Flanagan.
Thank you, Mike Flanagan. Those are the two directors in horror right now that I will follow no matter what. And to give Alien to Fede, I'm so excited for that. We will definitely probably have a joint review for that. Probably later than normal because I, for once, am actually going to see this movie before Brian because he's got family stuff. So that review probably won't come the weekend it comes out. It'll probably be during the following week. So it'll be a little bit of a late review. Unless Brian's like, I don't really have anything to bring to the table with it, then I'll probably just shoot a review separately. But it's Alien, and I'm pretty positive Brian's going to have something to say about it. So we'll have a joint review for that. Other than that, we are nearing the end of summer. We got a couple weeks left. There's a few movies still left to come out. But at the end of August, first week of September, Brian and I will definitely be back for our end of summer review where we'll go over our very poorly box office predictions at the beginning of summer where we thought things were going to end up. That's actually not that bad. I think Brian, you beat my ass though.
I think my top 4 are going to be right. At least my top 3 are going to spot on.
Yeah, there's some that we were wrong on. There were some that we were like, I want to give this thing higher, but I don't believe it is, and then we were wrong. But also as well, we'll be going over the fall preview, what we're excited for the rest of the year, anticipated. Like I said, we just talked about one Saturday night that we're both pretty excited for. So we've got some stuff coming here, as well as the rest of the movie reviews and anything else that pops in our head. We will gladly discuss, especially MCU. But we hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Let us know in the comments below, what are your thoughts on D23, Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, as well as everything else we have talked on the channel. Let us know in the comments below. Also, we are discussing on potentially doing these live. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you guys want to watch us talk about this shit live, or do you guys not care? If you guys do, let us know. We might shoot a live show and see if you guys want to, talk with us as we're going over this stuff. Let us know in the comments. Until next time, we are the Movie Crusaders. I'm Sean Walsh. That's Brian Michaels. And until next time, in case we don't see you, go watch some movies and go have some fun.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.